Well, I've pressed record.
Well, so have I.
Do this cough when I go, right, I mean business. Cough.
Oh, wow. It's like revving the engine.
Morning, Kev.
Good morning or good evening. It's morning here. I mean, again, I think...
Yeah.
Do we shatter the illusion again and say where I am, it's a bright, beautiful blue sky Sunday morning.
Yeah, mine's somewhat similar and I hate that.
Not quite gothic. Not quite sunny. Gothic enough outside there for me.
Well, on the subject of goths, I recently watched Nosferatu, the latest version. The thing with the monster, the Count Orlok kind of guy, the Dracula,
Count Chocula,
right? Yeah. He always looks this. I
found my spoffle.
Spoffler.
Sorry, everybody. Just before recording, I've got the little foam thing that goes over the top of the microphone. It's called a spoffle. It's not, but it is.
We were looking for a spoffle earlier.
I was tearing the place apart trying to find. I was sitting on it.
Interestingly, when we were looking for it, we're on a conference call, but I was still looking for it, like
tearing apart your house.
Here.
So I'll have a pause here while I'll just reinstall my spoffle. So 1 second here.
Okay. Well, I'll quickly just go and tell this story.
It's done.
That was a quick job. Count Orlok, the Dracula of the show, he always, in the tellings of it, you always see that kind of guy that his hands are in that position with
T-Rex arms, yeah.
T-Rex hands, and he's got a bald head, the two fangs in the front. Well, this one isn't like that, and he looks ace. He looks fucking brilliant. Like I really like this story because it's quick. And there's no twists and turns. It's like, here is your horror. Here's your horror.
Straight ahead.
And it's I recommend it.
Listen, I like every the Eggers universe. I'm a big fan. You know,
Eggers.
The Lighthouse. Yeah. The Lighthouse. You seen The Lighthouse with Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson?
I saw it with the boy from Twilight.
Yeah.
Is that right?
He was at your house.
That's right, yeah. And the thing with those films are that he takes all the colour, he drains the colour, and there's already a sense of foreboding. When as a kid, I'd be like, I'm not watching that. It's black and white. We live in the colour. But now I sort of get that it's a really good tool, especially for a haunting.
Story. Speaking of Twilight, is it too late to plug our boyfriend commentary from 15 years ago? We had this.
This was the first experiment, wasn't it? The first.
Yeah.
Podcast.
So we had this genius stroke. I think the execution in like figuring out, if. So basically, what we did is we with a few friends that we work with,
this was probably the first ever podcast because we didn't ever once call it a podcast, did we?
I think podcast did exist at that point in time. So what we did
it was just Ricky Gervais that was doing it.
Yeah, this was in the heyday. This was well before like streaming was all over the place. This is when people actually had DVDs, and we thought, with a director's commentary and things like that you get on the extras on DVDs, we thought, what would be great is if some poor schmuck is stuck watching a chick flick with his girlfriend or wife or whatever, is like, how can you put it? So you can put some headphones on, and I don't even know. I don't even think we got as far as figuring out where does this is this an MP3? We have to put a 3.5-inch floppy disk in the post for them or something like that so they can play it, or if it's something online. So what we did is the four of us were sitting around and we were doing an audio commentary on chick flicks, and kind of similar to what we've done in the past with the Florida Podmen is. I say ripping it to pieces is probably fair, but we were trying to be I think we were trying to get a little. I think I started going on some sort of hoity-toity thing about like trying to get the cinematography in this shot. You guys just like, put your shirt back on, fucking Robert Pattinson or whatever your name.
I remember Mac just going. They've gone to the doctor's place, and the doctor looks more iller. He's got no colour at all. He looks white because he was one of the vampires in it. I thought that was really good fun. But what we did was we had one microphone between four people, and it was sort of in the middle of a room that was badly lit.
I think it was Mac's living room in his flat.
Well, our room was like a greenhouse. It was so hot, but we had to keep the doors shut because
of the noise.
The noise.
Yeah.
It was.
I don't know if we still have that. We'll still have that somewhere. So, at apparently haunted. If you reach out, subscribe, send us 50 pence or $1 in the mail, and we'll send you the 3.5-inch floppy disk.
It was called the boyfriend commentary. Right. Okay. Let's see if it's on there somewhere.
I think if I remember, I made like a Tumblr page or something like that way back in the day.
Yeah, it was on a web page.
And the logo because we abbreviated as the BFC for boyfriend comedy, and the logo was like Colonel Sanders, but like we're looking like a dude, bro. By the way, remember Ghosts? That's why we're here.
Oh yeah, right. So have we done preamble?
That's probably more than enough. We nothing contextual, other than welcome back to Apparently Haunted.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good evening, you could say.
In my head, we would start the show with, has anything scary happened to you this week? So far, I've not had that.
My sinuses again are the only scary thing that's happened to me, really. Yeah.
So we must point out when something of supernatural nature may have happened to us. I've got to say, so we're about to do our stories, so we'll get the jingles ready. But said the bishop to the young actress.
Isn't that the name of the sweets that you're eating? Jingles? What are they called?
They're gingins.
Gingins. Chris has ginger candies for his...
Not for no reason at all today.
Just for the sake of being
the taste.
Gingery. Yeah, I think nothing scary. The one thing, and it's interesting because this podcast already kind of got inside my head. I mean, we've mentioned in the early days here that we're both skeptical, non-believers, skeptical, somewhere in between.
Open to possibility, but so far I'm yet to see possibility. Yeah,
exactly. My story, which I'll tell in the back half of the show, is from literally quite around the corner, but walking distance from my house, and it's kind of got in my head a little bit, as well. So, not that I believe in, like, if I walk there, I'm going to get attacked by ghosts, but like, I think it contextualizes it a bit, and I'm like, yeah, I can see what these people are doing. One of the buildings is still there, and it does look a little creepy, and I'm like, okay, I can kind of understand. So it kind of, yeah, I'm leaning towards, and I think we've said this in previous shows, is I believe the people that are telling these stories believe this is happening, and I could say, okay, I can understand why they believe. You know, I still think they're cuckoo, but I can understand it.
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't tell a story that I thought was deliberately made up, but I would tell a story that I feel was that there's a better explanation. Yeah. Right, and that's what this is. I mean, the fact is that in mine, something similar got into my head. In mine, there's a bit where a boyfriend sort of doesn't believe the story himself.
Does he do a commentary on it?
He doesn't do a boyfriend commentary, no. But then, so what he does is he starts kind of like taking the piss out of the thing, and it fights back. I don't know if I've put this into the notes. Actually, I don't think it needs it. However, oh yeah, it is. It's in my notes. I'll tell you what happens to this person. But that was the bit where I thought, if there is such a thing, does this piss them? Does this piss them off that we're doing this? So I want to do this in a respectful way. But when
first time for everything,
that I can't, yeah. But when I spot something that I can't help but have a laugh at, then I'm probably going to, and I'm sorry to all possible ghosts at this stage.
And what's interesting? Let's see how today goes, because famously we mentioned this is a Sunday today, and that's odd for us. We don't normally record. We usually go on a Saturday. So today is the seventh day. The Lord taketh the day off today. Yeah. So maybe it opens the gates for us to be a little mischievous.
Hell is open. Ding 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 ding. Also, just interestingly, you don't often hear. I mean, so far, the one I've got is an evil story, right? Okay, but you don't hear that many like good ghost stories, do you? Like
helpful ghosts.
Yeah, like Casper. So you don't get those ones where you go, "Oh, this ghost was nice." Well, I think there's an appetite for not only is this paranormal, but it's also evil. Oh. So you have to do that.
That was me just draining my sinuses, by the way. That was...
Right, let's go. Let's tell stories now.
Right, story one, over to you.
Right, now then, this, I mentioned here, did I say it on this word? But this is a famous story.
You said it to me, I think pre-record, you said
right,
famous.
Okay.
That's all I know. Again, just to refresh everybody's memories, or to enlighten people that have just, for some strange reason, started listening to episode 3 as the first episode. Yeah. Weirdos.
The favourite episode of anything.
We don't know what each other is going to be talking about. We kind of try to surprise each other. This just goes back to our previous Florida Podman days. We like to just catch each other off guard. I don't think we have A, the budget, B, the energy, C, the organizational skills to like collaborate on things and make this official and normal.
Yeah, I think there's an opportunity for us to take the same haunting and split up the stories.
Every second word we just tell it one like whose line is it anyway? Improv sketch with just one word at a time. You go, then I go. You go, then I go. That would be terrible.
I think there's something in. Okay, I'll tell the stories pre 1980. You tell them. I think we could do that possibly, but because the other thing is as well. And sorry, I will tell a story in a second. But the one thing that I really love about what we've done so far with every podcast we've done is that that when you tell your story, I might have heard the report or whatever, but I've never heard. I always look forward to being as surprised as it's the first time to hear it. So when you kind of realise that you've got a story that you haven't heard, and I'm like, aha, I'm going to tell you this story. Mm-hmm. It's an opportunity. That's where I feel it's an opportunity. So that's what this is. This is an opportunity to tell you the real story.
We've paid for the jingle music. We haven't really started your story. So let's do the jingle again. That's the $5 well spent right there.
This is the real story of. Do you know any dolls?
Not a fan of the dolls, especially if they're sitting on a chair in the corner of a room,
and it's rocking, perhaps. Yeah. So this is the one that probably one of the most famous kind of haunted possessions, I guess, of a doll called Annabelle. Ooh.
What was a movie? Wasn't that a movie? Didn't they make a movie of that?
Yeah.
They
made a few movies. Now, let's get this to the top of the story. There is a series of films called The Conjuring.
Okay.
The Conjuring is a franchise about a man and a woman called Lorraine and Ed Warren, right? And they go off and they were like really famous parapsychologists or something like that. Mm-hmm. Now, they used to do like famous cases. This film about Annabelle sort of what's the word? Romanticizes, They put more effort into it than actually happened, right?
Based on an actual story. Inspired by a true story, we'll call it.
Now, when I'm going to tell you what allegedly happened. What apparently would be.
Let's stay with apparently. It's the name of the podcast. Let's stick with that. It's on brand.
That's why I just thought, like, hang on a minute, there is a better word. If they'd have stuck to this story, the one I'm about to tell you, there was no wrong with this story. This is a good. I might not believe it, but it's a good story, right?
Okay.
And who knows? I might end up believing it. I'm not too sure. So this is. I'm going to do this in a timeline. Right, so it jumps around because I thought this was also another way to get away from the way that the movie told the story, right? So
you get your Tarantino.
First of all, yeah, that's right. Yeah. First of all, this happens about a Raggedy Ann doll. That's what it's called, Raggedy Ann. Now, Raggedy Ann is it's like a company that made these.
Yeah, growing up in North America, I mean, I know what a Raggedy Ann doll looks like. It's
Do you know what one looks like?
If Pippi Longstocking had a bad day, almost kind of thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got a big round face. It's got triangles for eyes. It looks terrible. But in the movie,
clues in the name.
They've made this in the movie. That is, they've made this doll look like somebody's gran, an evil gran, and so automatically you're going, well, there's no good that can come of this doll. Hang on a minute, I've got a some effects.
Ooh, wow!
See that?
Smoke! What the fuck?
Yeah, I bought a diffuse whatever these things are called, right? That spits out moisture into the air in form of fog.
You need to close the blinds and turn the lights out, because that would be it's
maybe we
I'm getting it. I mean, for those that want to play along at home, basically, if just crumple up some paper in front of you on your desk and just set it on fire and let the smoke waft into your face. It's pretty much what's going on with Chris right now.
There we go. Right now, that's the atmosphere for the episode. Ticked. Oh, it's gone off again. Right. In fact, I'll unplug it. Right. So that's the caliber of doll we're dealing with. We're dealing with something that looks super friendly, not fucking like, I don't know, this kind of evilness that the movie is. This happens in 1968 initially.
Okay.
1968, and there's a student nurse that she lives with other students. She's called Donna, and she gets this Raggedy Ann doll from her mum as a birthday present, and it's just a present, right? For ages, it's just a present, and then she starts to see these crazy phenomena happening. So the doll would be on the bed one day and on the floor by when she wakes up, and then it would be like it would move around. This is one of the things where I think people forget, if they're trying to convince people that this is a real story. When this story is being reported on, that it would move positions in the house,
okay,
right? She's then there's another report that she's looking at the doll and its arm moved. Ooh. Right? But remember, we've already established that if this is true, the doll has moved around the house. So why would moving an arm be as important, more important? And it's because, so something doesn't feel right about that. Anyway, now, so it's loads of strange movements, and then messages. This is one of my favourite parts of the story. I'll read out how it's written here. The roommates start finding small scraps of parchment paper around the apartment with eerie, childlike handwriting. The notes say things like "help us" and "help Lou." Lou, they've said, is one of the friends.
Okay.
Now, my favourite bit is the girls. They insist they don't own any parchment paper. There wasn't any. They found these bits of papers that they didn't own. It's just the weirdest add-on.
My local
to
supermarket. Go to my local supermarket. They don't have it. I'll prove it. They don't have it. I don't have an Amazon account either. There's no way, conceivably. The more logical Occam's razor explanation for this isn't that I do have parchment paper. It's a doll did it. Okay, with yourself.
Yeah, that's right. Now here it gets physical, right? Again, still 90. In fact, is it all? Yeah, it sort of like happens over the course of a year, okay. And the Lou. So we mentioned Lou a minute ago. She's a friend of the girls, Donna's, and she never liked the doll. She said it was evil. Mm. The thing is that the girls are treating this doll like a human. When they do some kind of explanation, right at the end of the story, they say you shouldn't treat this doll as if it were human because you're inviting in the spirits, right? That's anyway. Okay. Lou is having intense nightmares. In each nightmare, Annabelle crawls onto his bed and strangles him. Ah!
Wow.
And then one night...
You sure Lou just wasn't camping and had, instead of having an intense nightmare, had a nightmare intense?
Oh, yeah, that could have been it. Well, this one's a bit different. This one doesn't explain that. One night, while awake, Lou feels an invisible force attacking him. And then, when he, I guess, not necessarily waking up, but there are claw marks that mysteriously vanish the next day. So whether there or not, Lou.
I'd be more concerned with the story instead of a weird doll, like the super healing of Lou. Like that's a phenomenon in itself.
Because
it's like Wolverine.
Just imagine, right? So far, we've just had Parchment and Scars. Parchment and Scars would be a great name for a band.
It would be.
The Parchment and Scars. That's what they're dealing with at the moment. They're moving around the house. All this can be explained by the prankster. Yeah, with a prank. Let me tell you, when I was living with a guy called Stu, and one day I put outside his house. In this house, it was a rented house. We found underneath one of the beds, kind of, it felt out of the normal. Is that's
out of place?
Out of place. It felt out of place. Yeah, thank you. And it was a hedgehog, but dressed in a woman's. It was a hedgehog, a doll.
Okay, that makes more sense then.
But it was dressed in a woman.
I didn't know what you were going to say after woman's, but up to that point, it just didn't. Nothing you could say would bring that back to reality, other than it was a doll, by the way.
So it was. So I put it outside his door, stood upright. So when he opened the door, he would see the
sitting like a teddy
doll. Bear. Yeah. It was up on its hind legs. But then he would put it in a position where I would find it, and then I'd tie a noose around its neck and hang it from the ceiling and stuff. So we would do this thing with this. I don't know what we called this.
Are you okay?
What did I do?
No, the noose hanging a hedgehog for fun.
Yeah, but it weren't a real hedgehog. It were like a made-up one. With
strange
glasses.
That's where your mind went. Instead of like, I put it next to a can of Coke, and it's because it was almost the same size as a can. I go, look at this hedgehog drinking this giant can. No, I hung the fucker.
It wasn't the same size as a can of Coke. It was the same size as like a really low fence.
Oh, that was big. So it wasn't actual size. It was scaled up.
No, it was scaled up, yeah. Anyway, so all of this can be explained so far in my mind as pranks. It gets a little bit different now, okay? So they call in a spirit medium. This isn't Ed and Warren. This isn't Lorraine and Ed Warren. This is just a regular person who's a spirit medium who tells them, who feeds on their fear, because I think that's what they're doing.
Yes.
And says it's possessed by the spirit of a girl called... What was the girl called?
Annabelle.
Go for it. Correct. So this is where the Annabelle Higgins, who is a young girl that died near their apartment. Not in the apartment, near it.
Okay.
The spirit claims to be lonely and seeking companionship.
Hello, sir. Please be my friend, or
I feel like I'm being really disrespectful to the actual Annabelle here, so sorry about that. Okay, but I think what the medium's done here is just played on the insecurities.
But that's what happens with any fortune tellers, mediums, clairvoyants,
totally
doctors, that sort of thing. They just play on your fears.
They feed on what's going on and then get the money out of you.
Exactly. They call it priming, I think, is that they kind of feed on your pre-existing. If somebody comes, if you get this clairvoyant or medium, or would you call it medium strength spirit, like a rum,
medium,
come to your house and you go, oh, this, there's a room on the top floor that I hear things all the time, and like we close it off, but come check the rest of the house out, but we haven't seen anything the rest. Oh, there's a room on the top floor, I can feel it. You just fucking you tipped them off.
The other thing is as well is just pick up a newspaper or one of those microfilms that you see in libraries of people that may have died in the area and go, oh, it's this kid. It's wrong. They Donna and
Ed,
the roommates. No, this isn't. This is before the Warrens investigate. They go, oh, okay. If it's just a lonely seeking companionship doll, well, first of all, let's call it Annabelle and let's allow it to stay. Then this is the report of Lou's attack happens. So I don't know when the timeline of those two events.
This is in the tent and then the claw marks, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they've asked for help from the spirit medium, but they've also asked for help from a priest who he goes inside the house and he says something isn't right, and I believe, oh, that's it, right? Okay, so he's saying, I can't do this, but I know Ed and Lorraine Warren, these paranormal investigators, they could come round and tell you if it's what it is. But when Warrens come round, they say that's not Annabelle. It's got nothing to do with Annabelle, so leave her out of this. This is a demonic entity.
Wow.
Using the doll as a conduit. Now, then, so what they do is they get a Catholic priest in, and they go, "Let's do an exorcism," because we are doing
the horror movie ghost bingo card today, aren't we? Like, we got the exorcism, we got demonics, we've got fucking conduits,
apartments. We've got apartments, yeah. So what they do is they perform this exorcism, and then the Warrens said, "We're going to take the doll home just in case anything else happens." So that's then. There's some things that happen though that in this story. What Ed and Lorraine do is that they've got this occult museum. Every time that they've performed some sort of investigation, they remove the thing that they believe is the problem from the house. It's like a MacGuffin, in a movie they take this thing out, and then so
these guys have a conflict of interest. They're preying on people so they can put fucking dolls in their museum.
I don't know how famous they were at the time, but certainly as time goes on, that they're asked to investigate the apparently real Amityville house story, right? They're involved in that. They also get involved in a story over in this country, England, in Enfield, London, called the Enfield Poltergeist. That's quite a famous case. It feels to me like this might be the start of something businessy. They've got this room in their house, which is a museum, which they open up. You can pay to go and walk around and have a look at these occult findings. And in there is in a glass case is the Annabelle, the raggedy old Annabelle, and it says on the sign, it says, "Warning, positively do not open." And I thought, oh, could I open it negatively? It's like, oh, I can't open this.
It's definitely it's Homer Simpson with his finger on the red button. If you and I went there, positively do not open. It's like,
well, don't, because this is what happens, right? A museum visitor. So can you remember when I told you about the person who was taking the piss out of it?
Yes. Like us.
This biker, he comes into the thing and he's with friends, and he starts like taunting Annabelle, challenging Annabelle, knocking on glass case and stuff. But on his way home, dies in an accident. His girlfriend was with him, survives, but confirms they had been laughing at the doll. So I don't know how those events are absolutely.
It's not Raiders of the Lost Ark, is it? It's not Open in the Ark of the Covenant, is it? I mean, really. I mean, so the guy's being a tool in public, and a grown man laughing at a doll, crashes his motor. He could have been drunk. He could have gone in there shit-faced and then drove home shit-faced.
That's right, yeah.
Sorry to break everybody's illusion of a doll made a motorcycle crash.
So this happens in the 60s. and then in 2014, the not 2014, sorry, in the 2010s, the Conjuring movies come out, and then in 2014, Annabelle, as part of that franchise, comes
spin-off.
And then I think, there might be 3 Annabelle stories. I can't quite remember. There's a couple of nuns in there as well. And then in 2019, Lorraine Warren dies. I don't know what's happened to Ed at this point. Anyway, she dies in 2019, and the museum closes its door for good. But all the bits are still exist, right? They've not just put them out onto the street. But what they've done is they've just kept Annabelle's location undisclosed, but it's believed to be stored somewhere around the Warren estate, still in her glass case.
Road trip.
Because it's a doll and won't be anywhere else if that's where they put it. So there you go. Now I'm taunting Annabelle here, and I realise this could end up dangerous. So this is my...
You might want to move away from that book. You're sitting next to a bookcase with all your games and stuff. You might want to move away.
What I'll do is I'll send out this MP3 to you so that you at least have some detail on why I might have died.
Okay, appreciate that.
But as I say, nothing in there feels to me like it's absolutely linked to. Certainly not what the film says. What the film has, as you said at the beginning, is it sitting in a rocking chair, and the chair rocks at night, and it giggles and it runs, and there's none of that. This is just a theory.
I think we introduce a segment of the show, and we can cue the little tinkly piano music. I'm calling mischief on this one. little tinker.
Do you remember in the Florida pod?
It's one of our favorite charges that any bad person in Florida that's basically assaulted an alligator with a broomstick or something like that. Criminal mischief. I think.
Yeah. So this is a mischief, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, look, I think it starts off with pranks, and you've got girls who are girls of science as well. Remember, they're nurses. That they've been convinced otherwise, and it's very hard to. You know what? If you're going to say, I don't believe them, it'd be very hard to not believe people of medical training, right? Because that's the thing. That's the thing. So I think this has just got out of control, and it's unfortunate that people have been affected by it.
It's like 10% truth, 90% bullshit piled on top to then just deflate the entire story.
And I'm sure it could have just been this might be fake, this might be okay, and in retrospect it becomes more famous. I think that's what's happened. I think this is what this is.
I do like a scary doll story.
There we go. Now, I thought that was going to be quite short, but
that's all right. I think
big timeline.
I think we're going for a long episode this episode. I think so. Everybody
let's go.
Get comfortable. Over to me. Story 2.
Let's go. Let's see if we can change our minds.
Let's jingle the jinglifier. Well done. Right. So this story, as I mentioned to you before we started recording, Chris, this story happened, maybe even continues to happen.
Ah, right.
Remains to be seen. Within walking distance of my house right now. So I live in the northeast of England, between the great city of Newcastle, Buntine, and the coast. I live more on the coast side. There is a small village called Willington. It's set up now. It's a current housing estate called Willington Quay and things like that. So in 1842, there was one of the very first. We've had Mary Shelley and all that stuff, Frankenstein, all these kind of horror stories. Like one of the real first-hand accounts of an actual haunting. There's a book called The Haunted House at Willington in 1842. And that's where a lot of this.
So is this a novel? Or is
no, it's a real recounting of what happened. So we're going to talk about the haunting of Willington Mill.
Wow.
From the northeast, and like, yeah, literally, I mean, I could walk to this place. I haven't yet. I've driven down the road where this is a couple of years ago, because it was like, that sounds familiar. There is a blog, the Haunted Palace blog, where I kind of got a bit of detail in Wikipedia and local accounts, and I even read some excerpts from this book. So, Haunted Palace blog, if anybody wants to check that out, go for it. There's all sorts, not just stories from the Northeast, but other things. And I mention that because I don't want to get sued. So most of this happens in the 1830s and 1840s. So,
do you need a smoke machine?
Sure. You can do it on your end and pass it through the speakers. So, like I mentioned, this just outside of Newcastle. This area, Willington, back whatever it was, I mean, close to 200 years ago, was a small, I think we'll call it a hamlet, just because we use a couple of cottages, a mill, a miller's house, like proper, like, Yorkshire mill, like going down. It wasn't in Yorkshire, but like mill, that kind of thing. Like,
yeah, but hamlet's often attached to something of industry. That's why the hamlet is there to begin with. And so a mill really fits in with this setting. Lovely. Nice.
Correct. So this is one of the first, for history buffs out there, one of the first steam-powered flour mills in the world.
Oh, wow. Right? Nice. So
a little on the forefront.
What was it powered by beforehand? Hands?
Horses, goats.
Oh, yeah, horses and goats. Yeah.
Spectral entities.
Yeah.
Right. So, from kind of, the water that comes out that runs the mill, then it goes into the River Tyne, hence Newcastle upon Tyne. The area we're talking about is a place called Willington Gut, which is just a little spit of water. That gut, like G-U-T, gut.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Sorry, in your to put it in words you understand, gut. So basically, it's a little runoff from the river Tyne, which goes into a little, we'll call it like a brook or a stream sort of thing. The first thing that I thought of, and it's actually really funny because in quite a few of the things I've read about this, I was like, well, hang on, it's heavy industry. There's a mill, and whenever we talk about hauntings, and we'll get to it, you hear footsteps and loud bangs in the middle of the night. It's the mill. This thing is underneath. They just built this again 200 years ago. There's a railway bridge, like a on an aqueduct, or not an aqueduct, a viaduct kind of thing, way above.
Viaduct.
So this is underneath train tracks, and there's a steam powered mill. So you're going to get all sorts of bangs and clanks and things. So thought I.
Made out of big stones.
Yes.
And then
grinding wheat into flour. Now, that being said, so I thought that some of the epilogues here that I've been reading about, the railway bridge didn't open until like kind of 5-10 years after all this stuff happened, right? So may not have been. There might have been some of the construction during it, but it wasn't trains going over because it wasn't open.
Of course, yeah.
A bit of context before we get into the
actual... Did I ever tell you... Sorry. Okay. Did I ever tell you about the occasion I can't explain?
Which one?
That happened to me. So it was at my... I'm not going to tell the story because I'll tell it another time if I have... I'll but it involves a door at my old house. Did I ever tell... I'm looking at it.
No.
So I will tell you a story. The thing... What I put it down to was we used to live not too far from a train line. Mm-hmm. As if you were going from Doncaster to London, it would be that one there.
Okay.
And right now, as much as I can't explain it, that round the back of my house, a door, it was kind of something happened, and I put it down to the vibrations of a railway train. Because that's entirely possible. That feels more possible than what the people I was stood with claim.
Exactly. And listen, this is what we're here to do, right? We tell these stories. We look for the skeptical angle. In this case...
we don't go, let's go to that one first, but we always end up in that one. Yeah.
So they were building a railway bridge over top of this place, and it is a stone-built industrial site. There are going to be bangs and clangs and things like that.
Bangs and clangs.
So it's just a bit... So what we're picturing right now is like a 7-story, just brick mill, like a flour mill, with next to it is the miller's cottage. So the guy that runs the mill.
Miller's cottage sounds a bit haunting, doesn't it?
This is like a 3-story house, again, red brick built, attached to the mill itself, where the miller, the guy that runs the mill, lives. And then, there's a works yard in it with where they keep the horses and all that fun stuff. So it's just pre-Victorian industrial cobbly, pick your whatever 1800s set movie, Frankenstein-y kind of thing. It's kind of that's kind of what we're talking about here. So during the building of the mill, this is earlier, this is kind of like pretty much around 1800. There's rumors that there was a murder committed at the mill. And when the mill was running, and I went down a whole rabbit hole, there's a worker called Kitty. And in true Final Destination style, she got her hair caught in one of the millstones. It got sucked into the machine. Crunchy, dead.
Kitty.
There were rumors 100 so years prior, so this is now in the 1700s, that there was a Willington witch. So Willington's the name of the town that we're in. There's a witch. They called her Mrs. Pepper. Don't know why. Married to the sergeant. So she was tried and acquitted of witchcraft in Newcastle. This is late 1600s, early 1700s.
Wow.
But she fled. I think there were still rumors that she was, they let her off. But so instead of getting kind of the fire and brimstone and pitchforks, she fled. She fled to Willington. There's some bad stuff has gone on. Well, not bad stuff, but the locals are suspect of anything back in the day. Anything that's not normal. We're Christians, not good. Witches, people died. They're going to jump to the conclusion that anything that happens, it's not. Yeah, it's a big mill, and they're crushing wheat all day long and pounding and banging. It's a ghost. It's kind of where we're at. So there was kind of a family of cousins that owned the mill. They're kind of business partners, if you will. There's kind of three cousins. I mentioned one of them we're going to keep talking about, just a guy called Joseph Proctor. We're going to talk about him quite a bit. One of the other cousins. I'm just mentioning his name because I like his name. His name was Joseph Unthank. Like imagine we're going out for dinner somewhere, Chris, and you hold the door open for me, and I go, thanks, but then you let it slam in my face before I get there. Unthanks. That's what the guy's name is. Unthank. Interesting.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I like the fact that because you can only unthank somebody if you thanked them previously, which is great. Yeah.
Correct. Unless you pre-unthank somebody. Chris, you're going to hold the door for me. You are an asshole, so I'm going to unthank you. It's just in case I do thank you. Right. Yeah. So, this Joseph Unthank, he was the first guy that owned the house. This is, I think, 1806 is when this house was built. He lived there for 25 years. No issues. So he says.
Right. Nice.
His cousin, Joseph Proctor Sr., so he was one of the founding guys. He died in 1813. And then his son, Joseph Jr., Joju, we'll call him. He joined the business.
Oh, nice.
And became a full partner kind of 30 years into this whole thing. Around 1830 now. And he moved into the house. This Unthanks guy, the original guy, he retired. They moved away. So the son of one of the founders, him and his wife moved in 1830. There's a third guy that left the partnership. It's kind of like the third guy that landed on the moon. I don't even remember the guy's name. I forget it. The third dude. Buzz and Neil made it. And then the other guy.
Michael Collins or something.
Michael Collins. That's it. So so there's the 7-story mill with a big, chimney or whatever, like an old proper mill, and then there's a house next to it. It's a 3-floor house. And this is where things start to kind of, the credibility, and this is not trying to prove ghosts exist and things like. Some reports say the house had a cellar where a murder took place. Some reports say the house didn't have a cellar at all. So it's like, get your shit straight, people. Right? Now, a lot of the things I'm going to tell, and I'm not going to put the accent on, I promise, were from this Joseph Jr., who's kind of we'll call him the protagonist, because this is around 1830, so some odd, 1835 is when most of this happens. He's the owner of the house, and he actually keeps a journal, like a diary of nightly of this just happened last night kind of thing. Now, a couple of quick things about these guys. This is so Joseph Proctor Jr. and his wife Elizabeth. All of the accounts, like there's newspaper reports and police reports and priests and stuff. They keep coming back to now I think they're overdoing it a bit. the credibility of these two, this Joseph and Elizabeth, because they're Quakers, which is like a Christian offshoot, very pacifist Christians. He's an abolitionist, good thing, doesn't like the slavery. Member of the temperance movement, just like you, no drinky. Right? So, yeah. I mean, I suppose that, good characteristics to have. Some of the other witnesses were, long-standing members of the household, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right.
So presumably this is another one of those instances where you say you have to believe him because he's a nice guy.
Correct.
Here's the reason why he's a nice guy.
Trust me, I'm a Catholic priest. That kind of thing. Right? Right. So that's the context. We've got the Mill house, 1830s, husband and wife. They got 2 young kids living in the house. No shenanigans so far in the actual hauntings, but we've got a girl who got her head ripped off falling into the mill, potential murder, and pissed off witches. So, we got some suspects.
The setting is complete.
Correct. So, we're January 1835 now. The Proctors here, so like I mentioned, they had 2 small kids. The first kind of account is a nanny that they had living in the house, a nursemaid nanny kind of thing. I think all my stories so far start with somebody's pacing back and forth upstairs, pacing around on the 3rd floor. Pace. It's happened every evening for about 10 minutes. That's...
Same time?
Well, it says every evening, so let's say yes, evening-ish. I don't think they got the stopwatch. I don't even know if stopwatch existed back in 1835. the egg timer. We'll see. Anyways, so the steps were heavy. Like, they weren't just like pitter patter. They were rattling windows. They were so heavy. Again, this is why I'm thinking like industrial banging around. But the mill wasn't. It didn't run into the night. This banging that was rattling the windows was in the evening, and the mill was everybody down tools and gone home and whatever they do for entertainment back in 1835. Sodomizing animals.
I'm just trying to think myself. Yeah, you can't use the internet, can you?
No, Netflix was still it was out, but it wasn't. Everybody didn't have it at that point in time in 1835. So this nanny reports it to Elizabeth, who's the wife, the lady of the house, and then. So it happened so frequently. The nanny, she just left. She just like, fuck it, I'm out of here. I'm going to go work at McDonald's. So the wife herself, Elizabeth, she started to hear these sounds herself. And one morning she did hear footsteps. At this point, they had the replacement nanny. Nanny 2 had come in. They didn't tell her why the first one left. So she's like, sure, I'll take the job working for an industrialist family. Blah 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 blah. So yeah, the wife and the new nanny started hearing the footsteps too. Now the room was checked every single time. There was nothing there. The windows were closed. There was nothing. When the wife started talking to the husband about this room upstairs, she was like, "Oh, there's footsteps and banging and stuff. They're over. I'm assuming some sort of candlelit dinner in their stone dining room with floating candlesticks at this point, I suppose." The husband's like, "Oh, that room upstairs. Yeah, that was nailed shut. I've unnailed the door." It was and they said, say what you see. You know what the room what they started calling it? They started calling it
nail room.
The disturbed room. That was the upstairs room where they'd been using it for storage. So the husband had seen, oh, there's a door upstairs that's nailed shut. Well, like, why? And it was empty. So they used it so he didn't tell the wife that it was originally nailed shut or something to that. They don't know when it was nailed shut or by who. The original owners, this is the unthank guy. This is the guy that lived for the first 25 years, the guy that moved out in 1830, whatever. They'd only lived on the 1 floor of the house. It was a 3-floor house. I guess he didn't, again, texting and email didn't exist back then. So he didn't message this guy and say, why did you nail the door shut? It's just, they unnailed it. What
unnailed it.
Unnailed it. They unsealed it. Now, what they're saying is, again, coming back to your, Annabelle's glass hut and the Lost Ark, is the theory is that opening this, or unsealing this room, unleashed all the nasties, the ghouls and goblins.
Pandora's box.
Pretty much. So things go on through 1835. So Joseph Proctor, our main guy here, and his wife kept hearing the sound of like a mallet hitting a block of wood 10 or 12 times. Not every night, but regularly it occurred.
Clang, clang,
yeah.
clang.
They put their baby son into his crib one night, and a metallic sound tapped on the cradle, causing it to vibrate.
Ting.
Yeah, so you got some bangings going on, but this is all middle of the night stuff too.
Yeah.
So the same night that the metallic clank or banging on the crib, we have got our the foreman of the mill. So this is the kind of head dude, the main guy in charge of the actual mill itself. Thomas Mann is this guy's name. He was just doing some kind of regular maintenance. Now, this is where I start to get suspicious.
What's his name? Sorry,
Thomas
Mann.
M-A-N-N. Man, yeah. Now,
Thomas Mann.
So now we've got the report saying, the mill didn't run it was a day shift kind of thing. All the stuff happened at night. Now we got a guy that's, is a foreman working the night shift regularly. Here we go. So he says, now this is his account of another instance. So he was in the yard one night, and he heard like scraping on the cobbles, like something being dragged along the cobbles.
Yes, like an axe maybe.
Well, what it sounded like, there was a wooden cistern, right? Like a bucket on legs, I suppose, that they used to like water, like to get the horses stuff to drink. And it was off in the corner, let's say by a barn or something like that. And I guess they had
bucket on legs.
A bucket on legs.
Hilarious.
So the sound was the same, that because they dragged this thing around to move it around for the horses during the day. It was kind of in a corner when they didn't need it because it was in the way, and then the horses needed a drinky, drag this big bucket on legs out.
Move it out.
Like a trough, I suppose we'll call it almost. Yeah. That's what he heard. He walks around the corner, cistern exactly where it should be, hadn't moved or anything like that. He's starting to hear things too. So Joseph, our main guy here, the house owner, he starts hearing crunching of gravel in the yard in the middle of the nights, and it starts to become regular. So you've got the banging upstairs, you've got the clanking on the crib, you've got all this stuff going on. So he starts dragging of cisterns, that sort of thing. So he starts to get a little
crunching.
Yeah, starts to get suspicious. So he writes a letter to his cousin. This is the son of the original owner, this unthanked guy. So it's his cousin. This is him. I'm not going to do the accent, I promise. Maybe we'll AI the accent in. So I'm not going to do my Geordie accent today. Basically, I'll paraphrase this. He basically said that he was informed by his cousin that his dad, this Joseph Unthank guy, the original owner, had a suspicion that the room upstairs was haunted when they were living in it. But they hadn't heard anything in 25 years. So they'd heard it, but it was just kind of... Now, what I don't get is these guys are the original owners of the house. So, if you hear things, but you don't think anything of it, it might be haunted. Things aren't adding up here.
Yeah.
This is what I call like the priming thing again. This our Joseph Proctor guy writes to his cousin, say, hey, I think my house is haunted where your dad used to live. Anything? And he's like, well, yeah, now that you mention it, Dad did trip up the stairs one day. Maybe it was a ghost that pushed him or some shit like that. Proctor starts to research the history of the area where the house is. And apparently, some old woman in the area, it's actually the builder, the guy who built the house in the mill. His mother-in-law lived and died in a house previously on that site. This is probably mid to late 1700s, I guess. And after her death, hauntings started to happen. There started to be more rumors in the area on top of, this Willington witch that I mentioned earlier that got banished from Newcastle kind of thing. Now, the house was 100 years after the witch. The house was built 100 years after this witch. So there was so now we've got a lady that lived on the premises just prior to the house being built. She died, and but people die, right? Not everything's a ghost. Now we start to get into some your friend and mine apparitions, right? We've got physical evidence here. So this is November 1835. This is all still the same year when these noises started happening. Proctor's journal says that a respectable neighbor had seen a transparent white female figure in a window on the second story of the house. So your typical like floating old ghostly white lady floating around in the top floor window, right?
I love the
respectable,
the transparent use of the word transparent.
See, I wouldn't even think back then. I don't know why. I would think 200 years ago, did they even know what transparent was? It's not even a word. I don't think Shakespeare. To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether it is nobler to have a transparent blouse. They had another report. You like this one. So there's a bit of conflict here. So these people say this transparent white female figure in the window. Some people say she was in a lavender dress. Although the people that saw the lady in the lavender dress, I'm reading this as a quote. She was, quote, notable for her lack of eyeballs. I mean, you think there's a lady. She's in a dress. I'm trying to describe. What's the best way to describe her? She's either in a white dress. She was a lavender
hair in a bun.
Her dress might be lavender. I wish there was a better way. If you see her, to make sure it's the same.
Do you know who I
No.
mean?
Did she have what? I'm trying to think. What color eyes did she have? Chris, what color eyes did the one that you saw have?
Oh, she didn't have any eyes at all. Now you come to mention it.
Oh, fuck, that's her. Oh, God. There's another sighting of the two kids. Now, these kids are like 8 years old and 2 years old. So all they hear is their parents talk about this ghost. And little kids just, make shit up. So let's discount the kids here. So same month as the no eyeball lady, Elizabeth, this is the wife. Her sister comes to visit. But she comes to visit and she stays with a different family around the corner. I think it's actually the mill foreman, the guy that heard the scraping cistern. Because I think probably in correspondence, do you want to come stay at our house? Yeah, okay, I'd love to stay here. Oh, by the way, might be a little bit haunted. She's like, well, okay, well, I'll come and see you. I'm going to drop off your Christmas present. It's November, but not staying with you guys. Now, the house that the sister stayed at was next door. It's a little hamlet. Everything's close together. Like it's a tiny little village. Yeah. So the night she arrived, around basically middle of the night, or late at night anyways, this Thomas man, who's the foreman, this is who the sister is staying with, his wife goes out to get some coals. I always figured that would be a man's job. I don't know why. Go out and get some coals in the middle of the night.
Not in the middle of the night either. I thought that had been
done. I think maybe they ran out. Might have been. It's November. Maybe they ran out and forgot to bring some in. Maybe they were going through cold, shit-faced and forgot. So the wife goes out into their yard to get some coals, looks up at the proctor's house, and again sees a figure in the window. She calls her husband out, who basically sees the same thing. Now this guy's it's a man passing back and forth in the window. Similarly transparent, except a little bit blue. Yeah, a blue tinge, call it. Yeah.
Tingy.
Yeah, and he sticks around for about 10 minutes. Now, they eventually call this guy Old Jeffrey. Isn't that the name of the butler in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? Old Jeffrey. This guy they think he's a priest. Transparent. And he just kind of like dissipates. Just fades out after 10 minutes. Up, leaves. Yeah. So we've probably got 4 or 5 different witnesses now to various happenings, but sightings of things. It escalates from there. Now we start to have some physical things happen, Chris, believe it or not.
Okay.
A month later now. Is this okay? Am I bored? I'm going on long. I'm going into a lot of detail on this one.
I love this.
Right. Next month, December 1835. So we got a Christmas time now.
Christmas special
already. Episode 3, Christmas special. So this poor fucking Elizabeth, her sister again, who's come to visit. She was already terrified and she's witnessed this ghost now. So the same sister here says, this is Joseph Proctor's journal here. It says a little before 12 o'clock at night, so let's call that midnight. Word count. I think he's on word count for a little before 12 o'clock at night. No, it's a little before midnight. 11:59 p.m.
I like this when they go. He's been doing it for just over 9 years, and I would say, why don't you say he's been doing it for nearly 10? Yeah, it's a weird way of writing these things. Yeah,
it is word count. Victorian word count we've got going on here. I mean, I think they published his. Well, we'll get to it later. I think they published his journals and stuff like that. So Jane, who's the sister, and her bedfellow. I don't know if it says who the bedfellow is.
I need a bedfellow.
So it's just before midnight. Jane and her bedfellow were disturbed by a noise similar to the winding up of a clock. So there's a big clock on the landing.
Could it have been the winding up of a clock?
You know what? Funnily, there was a big clock on the landing right outside the bedroom door. Now, again, it continued for 10 minutes. Everything's going on for 10 minutes here. When the winding sound
roughly
ceased...
10 minutes?
Roughly. All just slightly over 9 minutes. When the noise of the clock winding ceased, footsteps were heard again above in that...
Oh, in the room.
The disturbed room. Yeah. For perhaps a quarter of an hour. I wish it would say just under a quarter of an hour, which would again be 10 minutes. Now, while this was going on, the bed started shaking, and Jane heard the sound of a sack falling on the floor.
So oddly specific.
No. And now it is a flour mill, so flour sack.
Oh, unless we're used to the sound of a sack.
Unless it's like an elderly gentleman ghost and he's just got some droopage going on. Same poor girl. Same poor girl. This is the following one. This is early 1836 now. Around 12 o'clock at night. Again, midnight. She was awoken and disturbed by a noise similar to a person knocking quickly and strongly on a piece of board in the room. Now, we had the husband and wife earlier with a mallet on wood. So, similar noise.
That's right, yes.
When the knocking stopped, she heard footsteps next to the bed. Nobody there, right?
But were they kind of running away?
It's just like somebody knocking like a wood on wood, like banging wood against each other. Kind of.
Bang, bang, bang. And then the footsteps to go.
Then footsteps. And that's it. Back to sleep. Night, night. Right. Next month, Elizabeth, who's the wife now, so
we said next month.
Yeah, so we've had November.
January.
The banging on the wood that we just talked, that's January. The previous one with the flour sack or the big bald ghost, that was December. February now, 1836.
February now, yeah.
Elizabeth Proctor, the wife of the protagonist. Don't know the reason why, but she was sleeping apart from her husband. Here we go. Chris is getting a little saucy. She was sharing a bed with the children's nurse. As they were lying in bed, now, this is your mischief. Let's cue the mischief music here. Right?
Yeah, cue the mischief. Yeah.
The bed raised and lowered 3 times, as if a man was underneath the bed, pushing it up with his back. Now, let's get rid of the word "as if." I mean, the wife's gone to bed with a woman, and then all of a sudden there's a man under the bed, like just checking things out.
Pushing the bed up. Oh goodness! But again, it's kind of like there is no reason to say as if.
Yeah.
We get the thing, but like
there's a pervert under the bed. There's a pervert under the bed.
Because why would you be so specific about it being as if a man was doing it? Why don't you say it just raised up as if the bed had raised up?
Because that infers that you've got experience with men being under your bed lifting it up.
Exactly.
This reminds me exactly of that time.
I'll never forget the moment.
Yeah.
It was just like that moment.
That priest under there, he was naked for some reason, but whatever. And they were kind of like the young, one of the kids says his crib's been raised several times. Now that doesn't say there's a man underneath. That might have been levitation. Right. Now, I keep feeling so sorry for this Jane, who's the sister of the wife. We're now at 1838, so we're 2 years later. She, because of all the shit that's gone on, all these hauntings and naked priests under the bed, you think she's never going to come back to this place. Nope, 2 years later, going to go for another visit. It says she was terrified to spend the night alone, so she shared the bed with the cook. Bedfellow.
Right, okay.
So the cook here, Mary was her name. She heard the door unlatch, like unbolt, like it's a little slide bolt. Chunk. And there was a candle in the room, and the candlelight dimmed like something walked in front of it. Jane felt the bedclothes raise over her head twice, and they both heard something rustling the curtains as it went around the bed. So it's like a 4-poster bed with curtains around it. Again, it's the same pervert. It's the guy who's not under the bed. He's on his way to going under the bed, but he's got to get from the door.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Maybe they didn't have perverts back then. I don't know. Mary, the cook, felt pressure on the bed and saw the curtains pressed inward. So it's like someone was sitting on the edge of the bed, on the outside of it.
But on the other side of the curtain.
Yeah. Convenient, right? then heard some footsteps towards the door, like from the pressure off the bed. That's like somebody stood up for the bed, and then footsteps towards the door, and then gone. Now they're saying that the door, when they got up in the morning, was unbolted or was bolted still. Like nobody had unbolted the door, right? And our guy Joseph, the main guy, because he unboarded the top floor bedroom, he then fuck this. He sealed this one. The next morning he nailed this one shut. Right.
What was this one called?
Which one?
The disappointment
room?
room.
I think so. The perv room. I don't know. Right. That's kind of, well, it's not the end of the hauntings. It's the end of kind of the story of this family. We're going to skip ahead a couple more years now to wrap this up. We're in 1840 now. We've got
20 to 7.
20. Yes, exactly. 10. And this only lasted 10 minutes. We've got one of the very first. We'll call them Ghostbusters. This is the first ever recorded ghost hunters ever. Dr. Edward Drury, who was a skeptic, wrote to Joseph Proctor and invited himself, his dog, and like a bunch of guns. He's like, "Dear sir, I'm going to come, me, my dog, and I'm going to come armed. We're going to come and we want to stay at your house and investigate." He wants to bring along a chemist from the town I'm sitting in right now, North Shields. So we're going to bring me, my dog, some guns, and a chemist. We're going to come to your house. We'll wait till you're out of town, though, so we don't interrupt your family. What do you think? Right? So Joseph Proctor's response you're going to bring a dog, some guns, a chemist, like to come, writes back and says no to the dog. Just to the dog, though. No dog. Yeah, you can go. Bring a bunch of fucking guns. Bring the chemist guy. No dogs. So, this Dr. Drury guy, he comes and he stays in the house for a night or three, sort of thing. Now, the first thing they did, as you would, he searches the house for like any like tricks. I mean, this is, mechanical. It's Victorian times. They could have been spring-loaded things and booby traps and whatever.
You're looking for things that could have been manufactured to
correct
be the haunting. Yes.
Naked pervs under the bed. Checking all that stuff out.
Yeah.
Doesn't find anything. And sure enough.
Well, no, because so far, if you're going to take this as, let's say everything here is definitely is false, right? Okay. So far, we've had no mechanical things. These are just people.
Correct.
Pissing about. It's not.
It's exactly what it is.
It doesn't need spring-loaded things. So yeah. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Let's carry on.
Now, this is where I'm putting my Scooby-Doo hat on here. So,
nice.
Like I said, this doctor guy, this Ghostbuster guy, he says he'll wait until the family's out of town because he doesn't want to interrupt their life or whatever, get in the way.
Yeah.
So the family, Joseph writes back and says, yes, I'm out of town, leave the fucking dogs, but yeah, come on down, whatever. I don't know what date this is, February, March or something, it doesn't really matter. So they set up to come down, but Joseph, the homeowner guy, he has to come back into town on business. So the family, the wife and the kids are still away. He comes back into town. So I'm starting to notice a bit of a pattern here.
Yeah.
So just before midnight, this is the doctor, like our kind of Sherlock Holmes and Watson guy are in the house here. Again, they heard the bare feet pitter-pattering on the floor above. Well, they couldn't really tell where it came from, but I think, again, kind of come back to this priming. They're thinking maybe it's coming from the room above sort of thing. Then they hear a hollow cough. Hollow cough. And fabric rustling up the stairs.
From the fabric rustling room.
Exactly. Drury says all of a sudden the room went where he was. He went cold, and he said, "I felt cold and wanted to go to bed." Now, if you start hearing things rustling towards you, and you feel a little chilly, what are you gonna do? It's gonna go zoips like Scooby-Doo and hide under the covers, right?
I feel like I want to go to sleep.
Hudson, who's the chemist guy that joined him here, said, "No, we're going to stay up till dawn. We'll figure this out." So Drury says in his journal, he says...
Ernie Hudson,
yes, exactly. One of the main Ghostbusters. Drury in his journal says, a quote here, "In taking my eyes from my watch, they became riveted upon a closet door, which I distinctly saw open, and saw also the figure of a female, attired in greyish garments, with the head inclining downwards, one hand pressed upon the chest as if in pain, and the other pointing towards the floor with the index finger pointing downwards." And then the figure started approaching and advancing upon Drury and Hudson. Drury charged...
Still pointing at the floor?
Yeah, Drury charged at the figure. I'm going to show you, ghosty. It kind of went right through it and crashed into his partner and knocked him down.
I love
bumbling. It is Scooby and Shaggy, isn't it? Scooby and Shaggy.
Yeah, he carried on running, but he didn't stop. Yeah. He just kept on.
So this Dr. Drury guy, they basically they carried him from the house. He was like going mental, screaming, gibberish and stuff. They carried him out, whatever, gave him some like heroin or whatever they gave people back in the day, calmed him down after a few hours.
That's right. Yeah,
we're kind of epilogue here, I suppose. So for a few more years, things kept getting reported, strange occurrences. In 1847, so this is kind of 10, 12 years after everything started, and 7 years after this Ghostbuster guy, the Proctors moved, again, to where I live now, North Shields, around the corner. They said that on the night the final night in the house, the ghosts gave them, in quotes, one final performance. There was banging and dragging of boxes down the stairs. It was helping them move. So we talked about helpful ghosts. Ghosts helping them move. When Joseph died in 1875, his son found the diary with all of these kind of journal entries and stuff like that. But the entries actually ended in 1842, and Elizabeth, the wife who's the widow now, asked the son not to publish them while she was alive. She's probably embarrassed, I'm guessing. So the son respected the wishes, and he submitted the diary for publication. Now, what's funny is in his journal, Joseph was saying, like, I have all this proof that, I can prove all of these things are actual ghosts. But he stops his journal before he can actually write what the proof is. Now, where I'm coming back to in all this is we've got the weird pervy guy under the bed when the wife's in, like, Joseph's had a fight with his wife because they're sleeping in separate beds. She's gone to shack up with the nurse or whatever, the nanny. Somebody's raising the bed and taunting them and haunting them and stuff like that. He's got motive. When the Ghostbusters come to town, the family's supposed to be out of town. Joseph comes back on business that very night. Haunting.
It all adds up. It's
mischief,
definitely, and this is what we said from the beginning, which was, look, we're going to look for the most rational explanation first, and then if that doesn't fit, but this completely fits with a person that's just messing around.
Yeah, he's just messing around.
It's great.
So kind of bringing up to present day here. So in 1870, which is the year my house was built. So I'd like to think these people walked down my street at some point. I don't know why. They were in the neighborhood back then. The house itself was broken up into tenements, fell into ruin. Joseph Proctor III, who's the son of Joseph, he's the guy that, can I publish Dad's journals with all the ghosts? And so he closed the mill in 1865, sold it in 1871. The house, like I said, long gone. The mill itself still exists. It's now like a rope works. It's like a rope factory. It was 7 stories. Okay. They've taken it down to 3. It's just on like the side of a creek, and so they're making rope now. Bryden Beekert Rope Works in Wall's End. So Wall's End is...
Wait. Huh? I know of a company called Bryden Ropes.
Oh, well, that'll be them. So, yeah, so where I live in North Shields, Wall's End is the next town over. That's just where this is. That's where I was born. I was born in Wall's End. I was born and the last house I lived in as a kid before we moved to Canada is maybe 300 meters from this place that we're talking about.
Wow, that's
didn't know
great.
It. So yeah, so that's my local ghost story. We've got our first kind of real world Ghostbusters. Yeah, the haunted house at Willington is the book that was written. It's like a contemporary book from back in them days that goes through all this stuff. But
totally, I was just looking at as you was kind of wrapping up there. I was looking at the book itself, and you can get it on eBay, you can get it on Amazon, and I think it might be worth the purchase if you wanted to kind of dwell on some of the things. So I've heard nothing so far that would change my mind, that's for sure. Yes. But that is a great story. And that is also as important as anything else here, is that I like the idea of the horror, the scariness, but it doesn't mean that I think it's any real. And I enjoyed the story. Great great telling of the story.
That's the mill today.
Oh my God!
Creepy
that
looking.
Looks like the Amityville house.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
that's incredible.
That is today. That's so yeah.
Jesus
that's it. So next time you're up at my way, we can go for a little stroll. Me and you.
Yeah, I'm looking at that place now. Oh, well, you said it about mine, which was the road trip. Well, there's so many places in the UK that we need to see first. This looks brilliant.
Yeah, I wish this old house was still there, because if you keep looking back, you'll see, if you look at Willington Mill house. I mean, there's some I think there actually are photos from 150 years ago, but the it looks.
Is it the house with the 3 stories?
Yeah, it looks like a big, just a square. It's like a Lego block, basically.
Yeah.
Creepy place.
It's ace. Somebody's taking a picture of the attic, which is the disappointments room, I guess.
And I think that picture is from this Haunted Palace blog, if I'm not. It looks familiar.
Yeah,
give it a read, everybody. Haunted Palace blog. I think Lenora is the name of the lady that runs that. Well worth a read. So give that a look. But spend most of your time listening to us and things like that. So
fabulous.
We went a bit long today.
What an episode!
Yeah, we went a bit long, but I think it's worth it.
It's got to be, hasn't it? We're telling actual recollections here. We are. So it's good. Right. Well, so I guess the question to you is, because I've made my point clear, has that changed your mind?
I said it before I started reading it. It hasn't changed my mind. Like, I think this was like this Joseph guy, like basically with like bored because there wasn't Netflix and he was just like running around, trying to scare his wife who was shacking up with the nanny sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I think, we keep talking about this. I think creepy is creepy. I think.
Totally.
It's just the scene, the setting. It was olden times. I think the fact that there's several witnesses to things. Now, in this the blog I just mentioned, actually, she does actually talk about some of the technology available in the 1830s, 1840s, like magic lanterns and things to be able to cast what look like ghosts and things like. I mean, sure, it's possible, but why? I suppose is the biggest question.
Yeah, that's what I'm with as well, and I think there's a few things that happen that you've got somebody saying there's a ghost at my house, and then you get to the house and it's really creepy, and you're looking for the ghost because you're told there's a ghost there.
Do you think so? You looked at that. You just saw the picture of this with the attic and everything like that, and you went, "Oh, it's." You just said creepy. Do you think in 1836 that place was creepier? Because it's back in our time now, looking back at something that's 200 years old, it's abandoned. It's creepy, but if it's them days, it's like going into like a modern penthouse. The house is only 20 years old at the time.
I'll tell you what I'll do. The next podcast, I will start by telling you my trip to a supposed haunted house where I spent time in an attic. And what a man chooses to do in an attic is his own business.
Crawl under the bed and raise it up 3 times.
I will go back in time and tell you that story, and it might help some of what's happening here out.
Perfect.
In answer to that last question.
Excellent. So I think. Do I believe? No. Do I believe they believed? Yes, there's a very rational explanation for all of this, as there usually is, but we remain. I think that if I walked after we hang up and I walk that way, especially if it's dark, I would think this place is creepy and this is where them hauntings happened. I would then check myself and go, of course there weren't any hauntings, but I would still think this is where them hauntings happened. It's kind of it's there. There's possible, but. The more logical explanation, even if I'm a skeptical, it's not me trying to force skepticism and force a logical explanation, but the logical explanation just makes more sense.
Plus, we've never said that we don't get scared.
No, exactly.
Right? Because we do, because that's the thing. We just don't believe that there's a thing at the end of it. That's all. So,
correct.
Right, okay. Well, that's the podcast for this. What a fab podcast. This was my favourite one so far. Yeah.
Apparently haunted on things. And if you guys, I guess, have any stories, like, hey, if you want to tell your story. Like, sure, we could probably invite you on if you've got a microphone and speak even reasonable English. We'll have you on.
Or even record your own voice and send it in. Or let us read it. Whatever it is, that's a really good idea. Listener stories.
Are we already running out of content? Is that what's happening? No, there's lots of content out there.
I think there's at least 4 more ghosts in the world, so we'll do those ones first.
All right, come back next week. Thanks for listening, and sweet dreams.
Bye-bye.